Okay. So you get to a certain point in practice and you realise that you are operating largely from your concept of what this means. And then when you realise what you're actually doing, when you start to really see things the way they are, or experience things the way they are, and you become aware of these filters for what they are, then the mind says something like, why the fuck have I done this? I was experiencing a compartmentalized view of reality. Things were separated. You can start to see how things were separated at a deep level by the mind. And then you really start to see how this physical reality and these separate forms are also separated by the mind. So I perceived this before as all separate, and I still do in a way. This physical reality was inherently what it is, and spirituality, or this mind and this ego, were something separate from it. Like the mind was separate from reality. In a way, it was a separate entity of itself that had to be seen through, and it was seen through quite easily, but then you realise it goes much deeper than you think it does. So essentially what we're doing here is this self, this me, this person, based in this mind and this body, this sense of separation, and these perceptual senses, vision, touch, sense of orientation and time and space. In order to transcend the self, because the self operates in this perceived time-space reality, we have to transcend time and space in order to transcend the self completely. All of this form, the reality as we know it, that we can only experience through the senses, is a time-space reality. So in transcending that, you become to see that the transcendent dimension, that which transcends time and space, that which is not time and space, isn't separate from time and space, it's right here. It's not a separate, unseen reality out with this. It is this. So I was trying to experience reality, and I still am in certain ways, through this conceptual mind image or idea of separation or compartmentalization. So what I'm experiencing right now is, like I said, these insights into the visual field and the seeing through the illusion of space and the seeing through of the illusion of time. The illusion of separation becomes less and less apparent until it's almost not there anymore. So, and I'm in this stage where it's kind of, that perception it's like re-solidifying and coming and going, re-solidifying, coming and going. And whenever I go deeply into that, the body has this heavy sensation where here it just tightens up. So as soon as that insight starts to deepen and I see through I become aware of the almost in a sense the non-reality of time and space that I was very used to before. The body tightens up, so it's tightening up instantly, and then this kind of adrenaline thing up the back of my head, and then this kind of like almost like this contraction in the body, this loss of balance, it feels like, and it feels like there's this kind of airy emptiness moving through my body, and then the body reacts by tightening up and becoming more dense and having a fear reaction. The heart rate goes up, so it's as if the body is scared of losing its position in reality, and its defense mechanisms are automatically kicking in, kind of gripping onto its position in time space. It's very obvious. So it's like this is kind of preventing me from continuing to dissolve the boundaries. My perception of non-duality and boundarylessness is becoming very obvious in the visual field, but there seems to be something in the body, in the physical body, or my perception of the physical body, that's gripping onto the sense of separateness in a very reactive and very pronounced way. And I realise that I'm also gripping on to this sense that there's a transcendent dimension that is this unseen, separate reality, and the idea that it pervades everything is just an idea, but it's not really seen. And the idea that there is this God consciousness that's operating through me is just another me. And when you see how tightly you're holding on to that lens, that perceptive lens, you see how important it is to the self to maintain its sense of separation. And like I said, then you realise what you're, probably bad way to describe this, but then you realise what you're actually doing. And then the mind says, why the fuck am I doing this? What have I done? And there's a sense that this is just happening. There's a sense that there is too much evidence showing you that the way in which you were living, the person that you were operating through to relate to the rest of reality. There's too much evidence to show you that that is not really how this is. That you know that that's never going to re-solidify to the extent that it was there before. So I can see why some people say meditation has ruined their life, because at a certain point there's just no way back. It's continue to deepen this and go through whatever this experience is going to be like, which is like an existential terror, and that's just the way it is. It's happening, and you just have to let go of the resistance. The resistance is the only thing that's standing in the way. But this is also just like a caution. The vibe of all is one, all is love, all is peace and like harmony with everything and all that kind of stuff. That's a phase. A lot of that, for me at least, is a concept, an idea, another thought form. There is a layer of separation between self and no self, if that makes sense. So it starts to go really deep, and it starts to get very scary. So when you see Eckhart Tolle, everyone loves him, talk about, I think he intentionally doesn't go into things like I'm talking about. He always says, but we don't need to talk about that, because what he's referring to is the initial step, the superficial level, in a sense, of the mind, the self-made in the mind, the thought-based fiction that is seemingly separate from this physical reality, but it's all linked together. It all is one, really. And there are steps that you go through. You know that as a concept, but there are steps you go through to actually experiencing that as reality, or truly perceiving that in an undeniable way. But there's all this mind stuff in in the road, and you just have to work through it. You just have to move through it. And that's why I said you can add a lot of mind stuff if you want by consuming lots of material on awakening and so on. You can just continue to add mind stuff, and then and some of it's useful, some of it's not so useful. You're adding it to then transcend it. The more you add, in a sense, the more that you have to remove. The more you learn, the more you have to unlearn. I was talking to someone online and they sent me some links to a Zen meditation centre in the city that I live in, which I didn't know existed, so I'm going to go and check that out, I think, and see what that's all about. Anyway, that's all for now.